love this place, by the way. Like, this to me is one of the cooler buildings you can own, but how much cooler would it be if you could customize it? Like, imagine you can build this your own way. You put what you want on the shelves, or you display your guns, or put your own pictures on the wall.
And your own color for the walls.
Yeah, the only place I've seen, which I will get soon and you got, that's like that, is the penthouse suite of the casino.
But then you can only still choose from 3 colorways.
Then you can only choose from so many different decorations.
Yeah, so that's the only place in the game where you can actually put up decorations.
That we've seen so far. There might be something else.
Well, so far, yeah. But that's the only place I've seen and bought that you can put up actual decorations that you choose. But again, there is only so many decorations. It's not like you could use just anything you want. And a lot of places in the rooms that'll be like shelf decorations, and it'll be the same set of decorations for every shelf. So eventually you're just going to run out of variety because there's like a million shelves in that place.
Yeah, I really hope that they improve that. That's something that, for me, before I still want this to be existing. I do hope there's some kind of offline patch, even though I don't think there will be eventually for this, like where you could still play it, the story parts on your own later. I don't want GTA Online delisted and shut down. However, I think they're too far in the trenches, like, committed to the non-customizable way they built the world, unless they completely redid tons of it and spent millions of dollars, that I feel like they just need a different GTA Online where everything is more customizable and you can choose what kind of bed you want or what kind of wallpaper you want.
And different body types for the characters.
Yeah, because...
And make the face stuff, like, make their appearance different. Like, choosing a mom and a dad to make their faces is the dumbest decision I have ever seen in my entire life. Interesting,
though. It was a cool idea, but it really limited character creation.
It's so limiting, and they really should fix that in the next one, in my opinion. Yeah. You should be able to make anybody that you want.
And even when I picked John Marston as my great-grandfather or whatever, snobs on Reddit still argue that this can't be canon to Red Dead.
True.
I figured out a way it can be.
How?
The states change their names.
Oh.
Things like this happen all the time. One of the biggest arguments for why this can't be canon is, but in Red Dead, they're based off of real names, whereas in this, they're parody names. What if those states and cities just change their names over time? It happens all the time.
Hey. Well, you know, something interesting is at first Maine was Massachusetts. And then they changed it over time to make Maine, New Hampshire, and then Massachusetts.
So who's to say that Hollywood didn't become Vinewood?
Yeah. No, I mean, I completely agree.
I know that, like, I'm pretty sure that Rockstar themselves has kind of said that they're not canon, but I'm saying... I don't know if they've confirmed that, but I'm saying that's a way they could be. Also, I did the Mile High Club, basically. Not as a Call of Duty reference, but because if you have sex with another person, in this case, woman, on a plane in the bathroom, it's considered being part of the Mile High Club. It's a joke.
Here we go. The maiden voyage of this new enterprise. Here's to new friends being better than old ones, old dogs learning new tricks, and this all being a computer simulation anyway. So who cares if we go to prison? The AI has already won. Our first target's a lost MC cargo shipment. Take out the guards and bring the plane to the hangar. Once there's some stock in the system, the app will go online.
So I want to say this. We are going to do the setup mission more next time.
Is that my car?
Yeah, where we have to steal this plane.
Hey, where's my car?
So we're going to stop here in a second. We're not going to do too many of these plane missions because they're very repetitive. But I wanted to show the hangar, and I want to show off some new planes when I get them throughout the Let's Play. I think it's a very cool thing to have.
Other than that, it's like almost the same mission over and over.
You ran right into the thing.
Stop it! Stop being mean to me!
You got blended. So my point is the next part will probably be pre-recorded again. And then I'm not sure, but I think we'll be back to like live reacting.
The problem with that is I ran up to the plane and then I pressed Y to get into it, and I thought it would auto-path her to get in, and it auto-pathed her into the wing things.
Yeah.
Isn't that stupid? That happens a lot.
And it didn't let you fly with me because you're not in my... We forgot to put you in my organization for this mission. And then we learned our lesson.
Yeah, we did.
Anyway, we loved having you here. Hey, if you are interested, the Oblivion Let's Play is not doing good. We might take a break from it for a bit after another part or two.
It's not doing good because it's your fault.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but you're the problem. YouTuber apology. If you are interested, though, check it out. I appreciate that. We're going to do more parts of this. Let me know what you think. Thank you to our members. I will show a thing here for our channel members on this channel. We appreciate you. And like I said, we'll probably do one more pre-recorded, and then I think there will be a couple parts with Nate that are like live reaction.
Write in the comments what your favorite thing about Nate is. Mine is that he is
His
a Nazi.
huge cock. Oh, yeah, that. I like that too.
Okay.
All right, well, we better end it there. Can we like cut that out?
Hey there! Thought I'd introduce myself. I'm Rooster. Think Ron should have mentioned me. I'll be available for some cargo jobs around the hangar if you're ever looking to source some cargo. I keep a small crew and we are super flexible. Flag me down anytime.
So, I was going to talk with you for a few minutes because after this part is going to be our parts with Nate, and I had to cut out a ton of fluff, filler, garbage. You know, like how at the beginning of any amazing adult film, you have to skip ahead by 10 seconds at a time to get past all the garbage story.
Sometimes you want to skip past the, like...
To see, like, the actual love.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, you know, like, how the interesting parts of the game are the actual love, the actual lovin'. I had to skip past a lot of terrible parts to this. And these missions, in general, I want to say I love the hangar. It's really cool. Great place to collect planes. It's neat. I've got Rooster. You know, he's like the father we never had in-game. In-game.
Okay, I wouldn't want him as my dad, personally.
Why not?
Okay, I'm on it.
I just don't.
Look, overweight, middle-aged white man. What more can you want from a dad?
He looks like he probably shat his pants 3 times this week.
That is pretty typical of any white dad of his age.
True.
Anyways.
True. Have you ever seen those videos of, like, grown-ass men who, like, poop a little bit and then shake out the turd out of their pants and just leave it in the middle of a store?
No, what are you watching? You mean like those stupid... Those are pranks and they're
No,
almost...
they're not. They're real. I've seen them, like, on security surveillance footage.
I usually see pranks like that and they're fake.
No, I've seen surveillance footage.
We're in business. The cargo's been logged and the system's online. Let's get to work, and let's hope maximum security jails are somehow more pleasant in computer simulations than they would be if this was all actually real life.
See, I'm always seeing pranks like that where the guy's like, oh, and then pretends to, and then it's like a fake turd.
Oh, yeah, those are funny, but
I don't even think those are funny. I think they're disgusting.
I've seen surveillance footage of ones where, like, they're trying to catch the person who did it because it's actually, like, a crime. Because, like, there was this one guy who pooped and, like, dropped it out of his basketball shorts and left it on the bottom of the escalator. And then another guy was coming down the escalator and didn't see it, and then he stepped off the escalator and slipped in it. And then fell and got his head hit on the escalator and got really hurt.
Jeez, is he okay?
Yeah, and I had to look at the...
Welcome, business partner. This is Ron Tikowski. Damn. I shouldn't say my name. Note to self, edit that bit out. Okay, I prepared this recording to talk you through the basics of our new operation. You'll find all the information you need about stock levels and our holdings on the homepage here. Then, when you're ready to make an acquisition, you hit the source button. Now, you're able to choose what cargo we're hitting here. Now, the deep state doesn't like this. The shadow economy, it's taking tax money away from their pals, the globalist conglomerates. But they make some work harder than the rest. Poisonous, untaxed alcohol and tobacco is easier to go after than Big Pharma's worst enemy. The mind-focusing and totally harmless narcotic stimulants, for example.
And then anyway, the surveillance camera, like, footage for that got leaked because they were trying to find the guy who did it.
Right.
And I've seen, like, multiple videos like this, where it's, like, some dude does it, and then somebody slips on it and gets hurt, and then they, like, have to, like, look through the surveillance footage.
So I don't know what counts as this, but did you know that you can end up on a sex offender registry for pissing in public?
I did know that.
Which I find that bizarre.
It's because you're exposing your body.
Yeah, but, like, if you're facing away from people, or if you're drunk.
I don't know.
Like, I saw a story about a guy who he had to register as a sex offender, and it's like he just pissed because he was drunk.
My dad My dad got a warning for almost becoming a sex offender because he took a poop in the back of his dump truck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because my dad's a construction worker, so, like, and he needed to go to the bathroom and there's no porta potties for miles. So he pooped in the back of the dump truck, and some old woman called the police on him.
Well, you see, this is what I don't understand, too, by the way, is, like, I think these old women who watch out their window and spy on everyone should get a citation.
They're weird.
You should get a citation. Like, we get it, you're waiting to die, but, like, turn the TV on.
I know.
You know?
Like, why do they just sit and watch outside all day? We have a neighbor like that who, like, knows every time somebody comes out of their house and, like, goes and talks to them.
It's weird.
It's very
I mean,
odd.
this is a nice person, but it's very weird, and, like, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's mean, but to me it seems very pathetic.
It seems pathetic to me, too.
If my wife's divorce lawyer taught me anything, it's that life's not about coming out better than your opponent. It's about totally destroying him and sleeping in his bed every night. Now take a plane and do a bombing raid on our competitors. Then take the cargo we need.
So here's my thing with that, by the way. I feel personally like that devalues the sex offender list.
It does devalue
And I mean,
it.
like, I need to know, you know, like, it's, like, you know, people go on Tinder or, like, Grindr or whatever, like, these are my prospects. I need to know what they're in for, you know? You can't be devaluing that thing by putting something on it like, oh, peed in public. Not exciting enough for me. Swipe left on that one.
I think it's more like there should be a separate list for them at the very least, because it's like people will look up online in their neighborhood who sex offenders are in their neighborhood so that they know not to have their kids go certain places, or like just so they have awareness of it, because you don't want to move in and your next door neighbor was like charged for, you know, raping 75 kids and he's out on parole now, you know what I mean?
Right. Unfortunately could happen, while meanwhile somebody could like deal marijuana in a certain state and then get put in prison for 10 years.
Yeah, I know. So it's like, it's hard when they have these lists when they don't specify these things. So it's like,
well, there's also uneven punishments. Like,
and
what
it's
I
not
was
fair.
Well, what I was just saying, genuinely, there are people who will deal a narcotic or a drug or something that's not even that harmful compared to something like alcohol, and which ruins lives all the time. And they will go to prison for 10 years. But then there will be someone who raped a girl and he'll go to prison for 5.
Or not even go to prison.
Yeah,
He'll
that
just
can
be
happen
put on
too.
the list.
Yeah, the
change his
list,
name.
the list of Jericho.
Yeah.
They'll be put on the sex of. Wait, oh, that's what we need. We need Chris Jericho. I know you don't know who he is. Famous wrestler with the known for the list of Jericho. We need him when he says you just made the list. Put him in charge of the sex offender registry. He'll clean that thing up.
What is the list of Jericho?
Basically, it's a list of like people who wronged him, who he's saying he's gonna beat the shit out of.
Oh, okay. Did he ever?
I mean, it was WWE, so if he was scripted to, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was WWE.
That makes sense.
Like, it's not like he found him in the parking lot and beat him up or threw a dolly at their bus on, like, Conor McGregor in UFC.
That reminds me of that scene from, like, one of the Adam Sandler movies where he was playing Billy Madison, and, like, Billy Madison calls this guy, and in the background the guy has a list of people he's gonna kill, and then Billy Madison's, like, really nice to him, and he's like, okay, I guess I won't kill Billy, and he crosses him off the list.
That's funny.
It's such a funny scene. I love Adam Sandler movies.
I have a question for you, by the way. I was looking at something on your iPhone, and on my phone, if I wanted to save this image, I'd just tap and hold with my finger, and then click save.
You don't tap it, you just hold it.
Oh, so you just do
highlight
this?
it. Yeah.
Okay, because I was looking at something I was going to show you, but I feel like that's really unnecessary. Why would you need to highlight it?
In case you want to copy and paste it for some reason.
Couldn't you just do that with Google Lens on here?
I don't know.
Look, I'm just saying iPhone for like upping themselves and hyping themselves all the time on being simpler than Android. They have some of the dumbest interfaces I've ever seen.
Dear God, I had to not tap it. I had to hold it.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Oh
like
my
most
God,
of
it's so
the phones in
inconvenient.
circulation, it's genuinely over half the phones in circulation, I believe, are Android. Why does Apple need to be different? Why are they like Nintendo, where they're like, oh, somebody else, you press the trigger to shoot? We're going to have it be so that you submit an order for Domino's Pizza on the 3rd Friday of the month and leave a $2 tip through the Wii app. And that's how you shoot in this game. Why? Why?
You know
or like,
really...
like their voice chat thing. Are like, well, we gotta be different than everybody. We have to have a different kind of voice chat.
Okay.
No, you don't.
You know what really annoys me about Nintendo is the fact that, like, on the Switch specifically, it'll have R and L, and those will be, like, the bumpers, but then the triggers are, like, ZR and ZL. Like, why not just name them something completely different? Like, what the fuck is that?
I don't actually know what that means.
Like, why?
I don't know.
Then I'll look at ZL and I'll be like...
Okay, by the way, do you remember when you just randomly hit me?
I didn't mean to.
I know, but like there's this wide open world, and you smack into me.
Well, to be fair, you didn't load in until the last second.
That is weird, and then I hit that pole on accident. But I was gonna say really quick, you are right on ZR and ZL. I wanted to say something about the game. I love that this hangar mission thing lets you fly these weird random planes, whether you own them or not.
Yeah, I like that too.
I mean, some of them are really annoying. Like this one, mine basically turned into the Heaven's Gate comet here.
Mine was fine.
Mine lit on fire after you did that. But...
Didn't yours also, like, blow up later?
Yes.
Yeah.
But I do find it fun that they actually let you basically test out all these different things.
It is pretty cool. I like this plane a lot, specifically. I kind of want to buy it, but I bet it's millions of dollars.
I'm sure it is. Each one is like a minimum of $2 million.
It sucks because, like, I feel like the businesses don't give you enough money for the amount of money they want you to spend in this game.
They only do when... By the way, look at how quiet that is. That's you talking that quietly.
Okay, well, maybe you should stop talking so loudly.
I was going to say that I feel like the businesses now are only really worth doing a lot of times if it's a double or triple week.
Yeah, it was really worth it when we had, like, 420 week for the weed farms.
Yeah. I wish we could get that back.
Yeah, me too.
Or right now there is some kind of Xbox lottery to win a
and we never win the Xbox lotteries.
I know, but I'm just saying there's a $5,000 gift card thing. And if we won that, we'd never have to do a business again. We'd just buy shark cards and
Why would
Rockstar would be like splooging.
Why would we spend all $5,000 on just GTA?
I'm just joking. I don't know. I'm sorry I made a joke.
I just want to know your thought process here. Like, I don't like that GTA makes you buy shark cards, but I won $5,000. Let's spend it all on GTA.
So I wouldn't. But two, if I was gifted $5,000 that could only be used on the Xbox digital services, I don't buy most games digitally. Most of the Xbox games I have and want are physical.
I would buy a range of different things. I would buy stuff on Dreamlight Valley. I would buy stuff on Marvel Rivals.
So you'd still do microtransactions?
Yeah, no, I would. I just wouldn't spend it all on one game. You know, like, don't spend it all in one place.
Neither would I, but my point is, I think that if you were gifted this money, it would feel a lot less bad than spending, you know, your own hard-earned money that you could spend anywhere on anything.
Yeah. No, that's true. No, I completely agree. I'm just saying. I wouldn't spend it all only on GTA.
Like, haven't you ever gotten a gift card, you know, to Target or something, and maybe a game you weren't going to buy yourself? Not because you didn't want it, but because you just didn't want to spend your money. Mm-hmm. Then you're more likely to buy it and take a chance on it, or buy it because, you know, you were trying to save money, but now somebody like your grandma or your mom or I'm throwing out random people, a friend, they give you $50, so now all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, I wasn't making much money last month, but $50, hey, I could buy a couple groceries and a cheap game, like a $30 game or something.
Did you ever receive a shitty-ass gift card to a place that, like, didn't have anything you want at it, so, like, you traded it into your mom for real money?
Yeah, actually.
Because, like, I would do that. I'd call it the Bank of Mom, and I'd be like, hey, I will give you this if you give me real cash. And usually she'd say yes, because it was, like, for dumb places she liked.
Well, would you give her, like, a $25 one and she'd give you $20? Like, would she be profiting off you, or would she just give you the amount?
She wouldn't give me the amount. She would go with me to the store and then buy said thing for me that was, like, close to the amount. And whatever that was it. So, like, she might have profited on it, she might not have. So, like, if she bought me a $20 item, that would be what I got instead of the gift card. You know what I mean?
Even if it was a $30 gift card?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, my mom might either give it to her and I'd say, well, you know, since you're inconvenienced off this, why don't, you know, like a $5 coupon for you. Mm-hmm. Like if there was one to a grocery store And when I was a teenager, I wasn't really buying groceries. It was like, here's a $25 card for $20.
You're like a liberal
Yeah.
arts graduate with crippling college debt. You always deliver. Only with you, it's cargo, not pizzas. Hey, and Warstock wants you to know they've got a discount on one of their new aircraft for us. Go to the site and check it out.
By the way, that discount is not very good.
What? Oh, the discount he gave you for Warstock? Yeah. Yeah, the discounts in this game suck because everything's so freaking expensive. It's like the economy times 112 million.
What was that?
1,100.
What was that?
What?
I was going to ask the people in the comments, what is the worst birthday or Christmas present you've ever gotten? That I thought of that because of what you said with your gift card example.
That's a good question.
Of getting gift card. Do you have one?
I got a gift card to Starbucks, and that was my entire gift from somebody from a Secret Santa thing when I was in choir. And we were supposed to pick out meaningful gifts, and I had picked out, like, this really nice, like, candle and these nice socks and stuff like that were, like, things that this girl had written that she wanted on her little sheet, because we all wrote sheets of, like, things that we'd like.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just got a Starbucks gift card, and I had even written on my sheet, like, I don't like coffee, so please don't get me any gift
Wait, do you think
cards or
they did that
anything
on
like
purpose?
I don't know, maybe.
Hey, up for some off-roading? I got a couple of drop-off points for a buyer that wants everything delivered out in the wilderness. Just make the drops, they'll come pick up when they're ready.
I don't know if you remember this mission. I cut down, like, I probably cut this into a third of what it was.
Good.
This was that mission where we had to go, well, you'll see. But basically, we have to go out into the literal wilderness and drive all over the place to deliver these things.
But
And you got so mad.
anyway, it hurt my feelings to this, like, I picked out something really nice for this person, and then they just gave me something, like, without any thought or behind it, like, just kind of crappy, and it was like, oh, great, I could go buy a treat or something, like a sweet treat to get more fat. Like, I didn't need that, but you couldn't even get, like, a Target gift card so I could buy something I, like, nice?
Well, that's why I'm asking, do you think that it was on purpose? Because you said a lot of people in your choir were dicks.
They were very mean to me, yes. So maybe it could have been on purpose. Either way, it hurt my feelings. That was one of the worst gifts I ever got. Another terrible gift I got was from this girl who,
It's always a girl.
true, who, I think she thought I would like these things, but I didn't. And it was like...
you were ungrateful.
Sorry. It was like a shirt that was ugly, and this like poster of some band I didn't like and never listened to.
Like,
And-
what band? Do you know?
It was 21 Pilots, but I didn't
Oh,
like...
come on. I like 21
I didn't like
Pilots.
21 Pilots at the time.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
like them at all. I still
They're
don't
like,
most
all
of their
my
music.
friends are heathens, take it slow.
I still don't like most of their music.
You know, they do that song, they do like, our God is an awesome God, he reigns.
By the way, that shirt didn't fit me, so
And-
she didn't even get the right size.
Then they also do A, B, C,
Nobody cares,
D,
shut up.
E, F, G.
Nobody cares!
Oh, they didn't do that?
No! Anyway, I didn't like those gifts, and I was like, do you not even know who I am as a person? Like, I didn't say this to her, I just pretended I liked them.
I have a question. Was this your friend? Or was this just someone you kind of knew?
This was somebody who was supposedly my best friend.
From when?
From when I was in middle school.
Oh, got it. So not the one that was supposedly your best friend who we don't hear from now.
No, not that one, a different
A
one.
previous supposedly best friend.
A previous supposed best friend, yes.
We've both lost a lot of supposed best friends.
We did, yes.
Thank God for Nate coming in clutch.
True. And it's like, you know what? Somebody like Nate who, listen, like, I'm friends with Nate, but I'm not like super duper like super close to him.
Why?
You know, like he knows some of my interests, but he doesn't like know me super deeply as a person, and he still,
I know him deeply.
he still manages to buy me extremely nice gifts. Like extremely nice gifts for my birthday. I don't even ask him for anything. And every year he always gets me something so nice and thoughtful. And it's like, why is this the most thoughtful person who has ever bought me gifts aside from my husband? You know?
Yeah, well, he's a good guy. I mean, the thing with Nate is that even when he doesn't feel like doing something nice for someone, he just does it. You know what I mean?
True, yeah.
So, like,
but
even...
he also doesn't do a bad job of it.
No, I know, but I'm saying, like, even the first year you were here, I guarantee you, with, like, how picky and obnoxious Nate is as a person, I guarantee you he was probably thinking, ugh, now I have to buy her a present. Because it was the first year, he didn't know you, like, at all.
Yeah.
And and he still bought you something nice.
He did.
And see, a lot of people, this is what comparing Nate to Dexter Morgan here, this was always what I liked so much about Dexter, you know what I mean? And very few people are like this, which is crazy to me, very few people. Is I have an immense amount of respect for someone who doesn't feel like doing something nice for someone else, but they just do, just because they should. You know, and they know they should. They don't have to, but they know they should. You know, like Dexter in the show, he's obviously a killer, but he's still someone who manages to usually treat the people who are around him, either
nicely,
as friends or as family, nicer than a lot of people in real life who supposedly feel way more. You know, and that's something I think is admirable about Nate, and it's something that I wish more people were like in real life. It's one thing to point to a fictional character, but a lot of people, I hate these hills.
Me too, they're so bad.
This is so frustrating.
And this car was not very good at getting out them.
No, it's one thing to point to fake characters, you know, in fiction, but very few people in real life who even feel like being nice are very thoughtful. I don't know if it's that people are just kind of dumb, like all of us are just kind of airheads in our own way.
I think the problem with that supposed best friend is I think she was mostly thinking of the stuff that she liked and not the stuff that I liked. And it just kind of felt like maybe she didn't even really know who I was. She just wanted somebody who was just like her. If that makes sense?
Yeah, there was
It hurt my feelings.
You had a friend like that too when you were living here for a bit. True. Remember how, like, everything was what she wanted to do?
Yeah.
Or what she liked?
And everything I liked was dumb.
Unless she liked it too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But if she liked something and you didn't, you were expected to try to like it.
Yes, I had to like it. Otherwise,
she made it weird.
Otherwise, she made it weird. Yeah, she'd be like, "Well, why don't you like it?"
I know, like putting you on the spot, randomly.
And then she'd be like,
"Why don't you like it?"
Yeah, and then she'd be like, "Give me legit reasons why you don't like it," and I'd give legit reasons, and she would be like, "Well, those are dumb reasons. Here's why I like it."
She said that?
Yeah.
This girl, she, on the autism spectrum, she makes me look like, I don't know, like the most charismatic person to ever live.
I think she makes some of the more autistic people that I've met in my life, and I met some very autistic people. Very nice people, too. But I met some very autistic people. She makes them look like they have all of everything going for them correctly.
Look at this. I didn't touch that guy. Did you see that?
Yeah, he just ran away.
No, the one over there. I didn't touch him. It was like the Batmobile in Arkham Knight, like the electric thing.
Oh, yeah.
The person exploded off to the left.
How
I
dramatic.
honked to get them out of the way. I kind of felt like slightly bad. But I was having such a bad time on this mission that I didn't.
They live. They're fine. It didn't flash on the screen. That means they didn't die.
I don't think it always means that.
Oh, nuts.
Yeah, I don't know. I had another topic to talk to you about.
No, I want to ask you what your worst gifts were. You didn't tell us.
I can't really think of many. There was a ton of stuff I wish I had gotten, but really, like, the worst stuff I ever got was just, like, on years when my parents didn't make much money and they kind of bought me cheap trinkets, but, like, they were still trying.
Yeah, and it was, like, out of love and not out of just, like, selfishness.
Right, yeah. I mean,
Those are the gifts that bother me the most. It's like, why'd you even bother? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I wanted to... Well, what I was going to say about that really quick is I feel like a lot of this is... I have never gotten a good present from those Secret Santa or White Elephant or whatever, like where if you trade a gift or you get a gift anonymously or anything like that from school or anything, I've never gotten a good gift.
I hate those things. They're so dumb. They're not fun to play at all.
No, you just shouldn't do them because you're making the person waste like $10 to $20 of their own money when they're a kid.
And you're making people feel bad.
Yeah, like it's just let kids, if they want to give each other something, let them do it.
Yeah.
And if they don't want to, that's fine.
Yeah. No, I agree. I
don't know. I also feel like it punishes poor kids.
It does punish poor kids. And then it makes, like, the rich kids look super great because, like, The rich kids always, for some reason, would get, like, their best friend on Secret Santa, and then they'd buy them, like, some shit, like a fucking iPod or whatever, and everyone would be like, oh, wow, that's so cool! And then everybody else would get, like, a pencil.
Yeah. Well, I know. Plus, I mean, it would still be bad in a private school, but especially when it's a public school, like, you're gonna have people whose dad are a CEO and they just don't feel like paying money to send their kid to school, and then you're gonna have people who their mom is a meth addict and they are on the low-income lunch program, and if they don't get their free meal of the day, they don't eat that day. They're that poor.
There was so many kids in my school like that, by the way. There was a couple of homeless kids in my school.
Well, yeah, and that might be the only shot they get to eat. So it's like, well, what are they gonna do for, like, a Secret Santa or a white elephant or whatever?
And I remember, like, in the public school, not my special school that I went to, which was, like, attached to the public school, but, like, different people ran it. In the public school, they wouldn't let you get a second meal a lot of times. Like, if you were still hungry at lunchtime, they'd be like, no, you can't get it.
Were you still hungry at lunchtime often?
No, not me.
Oh, okay,
I
got
watched,
it.
like, the really skinny, like, poor kids do this kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
And then when I was
they'd throw the food out, by the way.
Yeah, they would. Then when I was at my special school, there was this one guy who was homeless, and you could tell he was homeless. Mm-hmm. And he would eat a lot of food at lunch, and they just let him keep on eating until he was full. Because, like, that was the only thing that kid got that day. You know what I mean?
I saw there was a kid who I remember would take part of their lunch, and they brought, like, a cooler with.
Oh.
And they would put part of their lunch and, like, things that they could save. They would eat, like, a third to half of it, and they'd save it. And I remember one day my mom asked, like, why are you saving this food? She's like, so that my brother can eat today.
Stop. That's gonna make me cry.
Yeah.
Did your mom bring him food or anything?
She did, but you know what's funny? You can get in trouble for giving these kids food if you're not, like... No, she didn't, because she had tenure and she had worked there for like 20 years.
Oh, good.
But like normal teachers who don't have that, you can get in trouble for giving them food, because they'll say, well, the school's liable for anything they get while we're here. Like, we could get sued and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, so you're such a heartless
Bitch.
cunt.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, bitch. That you would rather, like, these administrators...
I like the word you go to, by the way. It's one of the worst words in the dictionary.
You want a kid to starve, you're a cunt.
Yeah, you are.
I don't need sympathy
no, I completely
for that.
agree.
You're like such a heartless, bureaucratic, type of person. The people who run these schools. By the way, it took us like 15 minutes to get this last one, I feel like. We got stuck on the mountain. That you would rather a kid starves than the school potentially gets sued. By what? A state attorney from the kid who's so poor he's starving to death? Yeah. Who's gonna sue you? The kid can't even afford food. The parents can't even afford food if they're even in this kid's life. Who's going to sue the school? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I
Who's
agree.
around to sue the school? They can't even afford food.
I know. Sometimes my school would be nice enough to give out bagged lunches at, like, after the school day if they had extra food to give to kids.
This was like my lowest moment of the day, by the way, when we played.
But something I noticed is a lot of the kids who didn't need to bring home a bagged lunch would, like, get one and take it home and eat it, like, on their way home on the bus, even though they had food at home, whereas the ones who, like, were very obviously underweight and poor and needed food a lot of times would be too embarrassed to get it. And it always just kind of made me sad. There was a lot of problems with my school.
I have two things here. One, these things are one of the many reasons why I couldn't keep working in schools.
Because schools fucking suck.
And I got so freaking mad.
Yeah.
And I would get mad all the time about this kind of stuff. But two, I also noticed that when I was at school, a lot of the times, instead of letting someone even have someone's lunch, so it's like, say someone was sick and they were gone, they paid for a certain days of lunch, not a certain amount of lunches, days.
Oh, interesting.
So, like, once those days ran out, they were out of lunch.
Weird.
Even if they weren't there for those days.
What?
Okay, the buyer just made their pickups and said everything was accounted for. Good job.
Really quick here, let me breeze through this before it ends. So basically, they'd pay for January, February lunches. If they missed half of January, they had still paid for January lunches. They don't get that half in March.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know, but that's how it was. So let me finish my point.
In my school, we paid for the amount of lunches we got.
I understand, but that's how it was. So let me finish my point. When they were sick, somebody else was supposed to be able to have that food, otherwise it would get thrown out.
Uh-huh.
And half the time they didn't let anyone have it.
Why?
I don't know. This is like the restaurants that you worked at, where they would rather throw out extra food than let like one of the poor workers take it home.
Oh, yeah. You know, I worked at this one place, and this woman who, I don't know what the heck was wrong with her, but she ordered extra chicken for her noodles, and then she left before it came out of the kitchen, which it took way too long to come out of the kitchen anyway. And I told the manager, oh, she left. I'm not sure what we should do with the extra chicken. And he walked over to the garbage bin and just poured the whole plate of freshly made chicken into the garbage bin.
Yeah, because these managers don't have to work for anything really, so they're entitled. And so they don't understand what it's like to struggle and not have food.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't understand what it's like for the minimum wage employees who work there to struggle. Mm-hmm. You know, like as, like these business owners and managers, as groceries rise, they don't raise their wages, obviously. Mm-hmm. So they don't care. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So to them, it's like, well, I'm making $50,000, or I'm making $100,000, or sometimes with restaurant managers, they can make millions, you know, or not managers, owners. Like, I've seen people who own a couple of McDonald's, they make millions a year. And they won't give out food to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. They don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know, but to them, it's like they could quit working now and they'd never go hungry again in their whole life just living off a couple years' salary.
Yeah.
But they don't care.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand why a lot of the restaurants I worked at wouldn't even give the extra food away to their workers when a lot of the kitchen people I noticed, and I'll be quick, a lot of the kitchen people I noticed are immigrants who don't seem like they have a lot of money. And
aren't even always here legally. It's not to be racist, it's just genuinely true.
No, it's true, and they're probably not getting paid all that much, because if they're letting in illegal people into their restaurants, they're probably not paying them the legal amount either.
No, they're paying them what they can sweep under the table.
I'm just saying, like, you'd think they'd at least want to help feed that person's family. Like, maybe they have 6 kids over in, like, El Paso, Mexico, or whatever.
Okay, geez, I don't know if that's a place.
I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, you wouldn't want to, like, give this person a little extra food just
No,
in
because
case.
they don't care, you know, and they don't care, and a lot of the people who push for them to care also don't really care. They're just doing it for clout, like all of these communist or socialist streamers who get on and they'll talk about how bad capitalism is. They don't care either. They're like streaming from a mansion.
Yeah.
They don't care either.
And they're making like $1 million a year.
And barely giving any of it away. And when they do give it away, it's either for a tax write-off or to look good on their stream. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's like you have very few people advocating for the fair treatment of workers. And out of the people who are, half of them at least are hypocrites.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big problem with this whole thing. And I think another problem is, and then I'll be done, the way that we treat like litigation in this country, where like you can sue anyone for anything. The most brain dead system I've ever seen. Because what it leads to is everyone's afraid of being sued at all times. Schools afraid of being sued. Don't punish anyone, don't discipline at all, don't feed people if you don't have to. Same thing with like restaurants. Oh, well, if we give you leftover food and you get sick, you'll sue us, so throw it all out. Mm-hmm. It leads everyone to have an excuse to be the most selfish piece of shit possible.
Yeah. And that's why we have a hunger crisis, even in America. Shout out to America, everybody.
Well, that's, I don't know. I just think that a lot of those things need to be changed. Like, you should not be able to sue someone unless it's something very serious. It should get thrown out immediately. I mean, I genuinely think probably 9/10 of lawsuits should be thrown out within the first hour of proceeding.
No, I completely agree. It makes me mad. And out of all of the food that I've seen thrown away in the time I've been in restaurants, I feel like you could have fed thousands of homeless people with that.
I'm sure you could have. I'm 100% sure you could have.
That's something that annoys me. Like, I even worked at one specific restaurant that was like, yeah, we save our extra food and give it to this special foundation.
And they still throw out most of it.
And then I still saw them throw out most of it, yes.
Yeah. They would just save specific things.
Only specific extra things. Just a couple things. But if it was like there was an extra piece of cake and a worker wanted to bring it home, we're throwing that away.
Okay.
Going right to the cake, Joe.
It was going right to the can is what it was.